If the doorbell goes again, then
I'm
whoever
hemmed in here. You have to go and get it for
whoever's delivering the package is in the
whoever's
show,
ordered the package. My package is here.
What? What are you talking about? Hello and welcome.
Hi, we're back.
Welcome to the Gerry and Scarlett show. We're just a couple from Glasgow who wanted their own chat show with topical pattern, news and reviews, and so we're having one.
And we figured out last week that we couldn't do it with our progeny here for the Easter holidays, so we had to have a week off last week, so thanks for coming back.
Good use of the word progeny.
Yeah. And we have one change to announce. Having discussed with a few people over that break about the show and stuff, we've decided we are not going to cover Succession.
Let me do the format of the show. I do the run through. I read it through with everyone. I give them what's going to happen, and then we announce exciting things like that.
Oh right, okay.
So
right,
on the show today we have Scarlett's armpit update, Scarlett's rabbit hole after that, Tetris the movie we'll be reviewing, Creed 3, and we were going to review Succession, but we're not going to anymore.
No, because we have heard from feedback from our dedicated viewers that actually spoilers are a bit of a pain because you're all watching it at different paces and basically you just want to know whether something's good or not and whether to watch it, which is absolutely fine.
It's basically it's such a good series that actually just go watch it, and if you've not seen it yet, start at series 1 and go watch it. Maybe we'll do a review at the end. Yeah. But we're midway through. How many episodes are we into?
We're 4,
and it's just so fantastic. It's so difficult to talk about it without really doing some
or getting too overexcited and giving something away. I'm very conscious I'm rattling here, so I'm just going to professionally take these off mid show. Hadn't thought that through.
So instead of doing Succession, we thought we'd do something equally as important a body of work. We're going to do Cocaine Bear.
Yes.
So that should be really good. But starting up right now, it's time for the armpit update.
Armpits are I really enjoy it. I love it. I think it's very good. The only thing I would say,
some context first.
So they're in it. So I'm using the Himalayan salt deodorant, which is a little ball of Himalayan salt, and you just wet it slightly first and rub it on. Idea being it replaces conventional deodorants, and it took 2 weeks to get into it, and now I am a convert. The only thing I would say that's the slight downside of it is that it's now developing slight cracks in the sphere of the deodorant, and
so it's a big ball of salt.
Developing
cracks after you've been rubbing it on your armpits for a few weeks.
Must be on week 6 now. I feel like
you're pretty happy with your armpits.
But actually, in terms of I love the fact that it doesn't smell, and the fact that
thumbs up for deodorant.
Yeah. No, but most deodorants have a smell. Is my point, and we've ascertained a couple of weeks ago that I don't like the smell of deodorant because I like the smell of my perfume. So I really, that's been a bit of a game changer. So far so good, definitely.
Okay, do you feel the need to continue to do armpit updates? I know that's a majorly popular part of the show.
I will only come back if I change and I revert to my old ways. I will then let you know.
If you're sticking with it,
sticking with it.
Oh, that's fair enough. There you are. So now, if that wasn't a rabbit hole enough, but we do a regular feature on their show, Scarlett's Rabbit Hole. So Scarlett started off with something, and it's led her into a completely different place, and I'm going to try and guess which way it goes, and then we'll go down the rabbit hole with her. But
so what did you start basically, isn't it? It's where I start on clickbait and I go from clicks to clicks to clicks to clicks and fall down a rabbit hole. So the first click I started on was why you should always sit on the left-hand side of the plane.
Okay, and where did you end up?
And I ended up with why we have a collectible that we had no idea about in the house.
We have a collectible?
Yeah.
So only sitting on the left-hand side of the plane. Okay, right. Okay, I don't even know how you started getting into that, but collectible-wise, I know we've got the little porcelain houses that we got from KLM when we went on our honeymoon. And that was like they came free because we went the only time we've ever gone business class anywhere, and we got those little porcelain houses free. And people collected them, and that was amazing because there's billions of them, and we've got those. Was that?
Yes, that's the collectible. So we'll get to that. Yeah, well, you guessed where we got to. Yeah. Okay, so
I thought it was just a quick. There's no rabbit hole. It should be straight A to B. This one.
Obviously, that's not going to happen
with me. It's going to be a quick episode.
So apparently, why you should always sit on the left-hand side of the plane. So apparently, window seats are the most coveted. Not a big surprise there. As you can use the window as a headrest.
Do you like a window seat?
I do like a window seat.
I like an aisle seat.
Yeah, but that's because you like not disturbing people to go to the toilet. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
But picking the left-hand side of the plane makes a big difference because they have more headrest room. So they don't have generally more room, but they have more headrest room. And this is because of the location of the plane door, which means that the seats on the left-hand side, the windows on the left-hand side are at odds with the seats. So you get more wall space to lay your head.
Okay.
Whereas on the right-hand side of the plane, I think they marry up. So your head's kind of in the window. So it's kind of less comfortable. Whereas like on the left-hand side of the plane, your head's on the wall and the window is sort of next to that.
Oh, that's a good, genuinely a good.
It's quite interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously that was like, oh, well, that's really interesting.
So if you're to sit in the window seat on the left-hand side of the plane, you can rest your head probably on a little bit of wall. Whereas on the right-hand side, you'll be hitting like the window port.
Apparently, yeah.
Right, I'm definitely going to test that.
Yeah, so I thought that was really interesting. Yeah, so in a 2018 study by Boeing, this is the next rabbit hole I fell down, which was...
Two rabbit holes?
Oh, was it? No, well, as in, you know how it goes through the clips.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I followed this study by Boeing, which suggested that passengers in aisle seats are more likely to catch a virus. Right? And this is actually quite sensible, really. And it's because they've got more people walking past them. Yeah. So the aisle seat passengers had an average of 64 contacts and window seats, 12.
Wow.
So me sitting in my window seat, I am far less likely to get sick than you sitting in your aisle seat.
Surely you're just all really likely to get whatever virus in it because you're all in the big floating can.
I mean, I think
sucking in the same air.
Yeah, probably.
So 12 times as likely, still certain.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, probably.
You're just certain to get whatever they put on the plane.
But the same study also found that people who pick window seats tend to be a bit more selfish. And like to be in control, also true. And may also be more irritable.
What, people that sit in the window seat want to be in control?
Yeah.
So they can pretend they're flying the plane. Look out the window.
No, I guess they planned it better because most of the window seats are more popular, so they get taken quicker. So they're in control. Right. They order it faster online.
I thought somehow seeing the ground or seeing the clouds.
Right. No, I don't think it's that. No, but they said the nicest people sit in the aisle seats. So I'm selfish and you're nice. Is basically the way that this goes down.
Suggested.
But I guess that's also because, like you always say, you don't like disturbing people when you go to the toilet. So
yeah, and I don't mind as much.
But that is also because you drink more than me on flights.
Yeah, it's
so
true.
You go to the toilet more. So yeah, 6 and 2 3s. Why? And so then I fell down the rabbit hole.
It was almost a compliment there. The hung around and then the backhanded compliment came to fruition.
So we'll get to that in a minute. Why does plain food taste crap? This was the next thing that I fell down. So your taste buds are reduced by 30% during a flight. It's insane, isn't it? Yeah. But so cabin pressure numbs your taste bud and dries out food. So actually, you lose 30% of your taste.
Is your bladder compressed?
But unfortunately not. Even weirder, only sweet and salty flavors are affected. Oh. So spicy and bitter flavors, completely unaffected. So a Bloody Mary is apparently the best choice of drink for a flight on the basis of that. It's like going to give you the most sensations.
Oh God, I hate Bloody Marys.
I love Bloody Marys, but yeah, I didn't think you'd like that one. So then, of course, I fell down the rabbit hole. I went out. The next click was which airline provides the best food and drinks.
Okay.
Any guesses on that one?
Emirates.
Wow, funny. Yeah, so I thought it would be Emirates. But, so split it into food and drink. So food is apparently, according to the luxury travel expert, Austrian Airlines.
Really? Why?
So they have an onboard sommelier. I'm assuming this is first class, let's be honest. I don't think this is for us economy passengers.
Ladies and gentlemen, we apologise. We have no sommelier on the flight this evening. It will be a 5-hour delay.
And also, they subcontract their catering out to, I don't know if this is Do & Co. or Do & Co., an upscale restaurant from Vienna. And they have 11 different types of coffee on offer. It's just pretty awesome, isn't it?
That's too much. Do you mean like a cappuccino and a latte, or do you mean like brand like?
No, like types. Yeah. Oh apparently. God. And so drinks wise, which you're not going to be more interested in, according to the Insider, it's Emirates. Not a huge surprise, because in business class and first class, you have a real life bartender in a real life bar, and an actual
on Ryanair.
You don't even get that, you better. An actual lounge in an actual airplane.
Yeah.
Very cool. I think actually it was Jennifer Aniston that did the advert for that. It really sticks in my head. She was sort of standing up, it's like full standing up space at a bar.
I know, people just treat it as a bar.
Yeah.
Still,
totally.
listen, it's not as good as Logan Air, where you get like a little Tannock's tea cake. And,
and a Harris headrest.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it depends what you
but
call
even
it the
most.
most.
Even in economy in Emirates, you get free booze though, so that's pretty good if you're on a long flight. So that led me to the free booze, and I was like, oh, I wonder which airline gives the best free stuff. And according to, I can't remember, but something I looked at, it is the KLM Delft Blue houses are the most coveted free gift from an airline. Now, to give a little bit of context to this, we have 2 of these.
Yeah,
why do we have 2 of these?
Didn't it? 'Cause we were going on when we went on our honeymoon, we upgraded to business class. And they just passed around, would you like to pick your little houses? We were like, absolutely, of course. Of course, can't believe we had to wait all day to pick our little
So if you see on the back,
houses.
it says KLM. And balls, which reminds me of the blue balls sign, right? Is that
right? If you're listening to us on the podcast rather than the visual, Scarlett's holding up 2 little porcelain houses at the moment.
Oh, one of them's got a crack,
the size of your.
Oh god!
No, I think that's a design. That's
not a design. I don't think.
That looks like the design to me.
No.
I wouldn't worry.
Yeah.
Let's sell them anyway. Sure, someone wants to buy them.
So apparently these Delft houses, they've been giving them out since 1952 to business class passengers. And each year the airline brings out a new model based on a real life structure.
Oh, right.
So those are particular to that year. Die-hard collectors book flights on the first day of release to ensure that they get the new one. And there's even an app to keep track of your collection. So, and sometimes they're filled with a spirit called Genever or Genevieve, or I don't know, something like that. A spirit akin to gin that is popular in the Netherlands. Ours don't have that in them though. I don't think. Is that what that is? Oh my god!
Hold on, listen to this. Listen, hold on. You can hear that. So
oh my goodness, it has got gin in it. Oh, that doesn't.
Oh, that doesn't. That was your one. I mean, that might be the one I held on to while you were sleeping. Oh, that's amazing.
I can't believe that.
Oh, well, it's good that we found that out. Oh, well, fair play.
So there we go. That's very exciting.
They've got numbers on the back of those. If anyone wants number 73 and number 90 of the KLM little porcelain houses thing.
Oh, it's £1 million.
Get in touch. Right, should we do some reviews then now?
Yes, let's review.
Okay, so our first review is Tetris.
Yes.
The movie.
So, Tetris the movie. Okay, so the synopsis of Tetris the movie. Henk Rogers discovers Tetris in 1988 and then risks everything by traveling to the Soviet Union, where he joins forces with inventor Alexei Pachitnov.
Go on, give it another go.
Pachitnov to bring the game to the masses. This one's starring Taron Egerton and is directed by the Scottish director John S. Baird, who also did Filth. So this is a big one. And we loved it, didn't we?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's another one as well when you see about these films and when the subject matter doesn't necessarily sound that interesting. No. And I like games.
And you like Tetris.
And it's really,
we both like Tetris.
Addictive games of all time, isn't it? But like, I wasn't really necessarily that excited. Sometimes it's hard to sell these films, isn't it? But it was really good, really good fun, and a lot more tense.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
And a lot more kind of twists and backstabbing. Wasn't that different to Succession, really? In a sense that there was a lot of like power struggles, and it involved billionaires and whole states and countries, and just the fact that they had to go over to Soviet Russia, like in the way that they filmed that and the care that had been taken over the kind of the backdrop and the setting and everything was really cool. And then there was a bit of digital CGI blocks and graphics that were interactive
did really well.
for the settings. Not the most original of ideas, but done really well.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen that before, little 8-bit digital kind of graphics.
Yeah, it fitted. The style was so in fitting with the era, with the tech backdrop of the whole thing, but also like the color palette of it was amazing. And I just thought John S. Baird, I thought he did a great job on the direction. I thought it was really nicely done. The tension was unbelievable. It's a true story as well. It's also worth pointing out.
How much of it is?
So I read about it this morning. So apparently the let me get this right. The KGB stuff, they were trying to get the emotional tenseness of it, because he was sort of the guy who, what's his name? Henk Rogers. He's an exec producer on it.
Oh right. Okay.
So he really had a hand in it and made sure that a lot of it was fairly close to life. And as the director put it, is that we did have to Hollywoodize certain aspects. So there wasn't a car chase at the end to get to the airport, but it was obviously obviously very tense. It was still very tense.
I like the way Hollywoodized means we stuck a car chase in it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, there was a couple of bits that they Hollywoodized, quote unquote. But he said, generally speaking, the fear, the tension within the story is 100% accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so which I kind of wish we'd known before, because I mean that adds a real aspect to it, doesn't it?
I mean, I think the tension that they kind of brought up with all the you know, just creating that world and letting you realize a little taste of what it was like to be growing up in Soviet Russia at the time, and the fact that actually the creator himself was invested and believed in the system. Do you know what I mean? It was like his creativity and for the greater good, but it was obviously the fall of the Soviet. I think that the performances there were really good. I didn't see any of the twists, if you can call them that, coming. I wasn't really sure where it was going. You know that the game becomes a huge success, but I don't know how and
who's gonna. We know who sells it in the end, so that's because you know that it's Nintendo that get it. But doesn't really matter that that's a key part of the story, that you know.
Through. And the performances are, there's some really good performances, and obviously Taron Egerton, who we kind of misunderstood. I mean, I thought he's kind of become the new kind of Martin Sheen in my books. He's Elton John. He did Brian Clough. So he's done these basically impersonations. Oh, sorry, Brian Clough's. What am I talking about?
Are you not talking about Eddie the Eagle?
Eddie the Eagle.
Eddie the. I was thinking Brian Clough. You really confused me there.
That's Martin Sheen. Martin Sheen did Brian Clough.
Yes. Taron Egerton did Eddie the Eagle, which is, I think he's best known for, apart from Knightsman, maybe.
Yeah. But he's done these characters that are real people, so you've got to kind of have some portrayal, and obviously Hank Rogers is working on the show, so for him to be able to do that, I thought he's carved out a real niche for himself there. But we never mind me mixing him up with Martin Sheen. We actually mixed him up because you thought he was related.
I thought he was the brother of Tamsin Egerton, and it turns out he's not. He's not. He's. I
wasn't sure about that. I hadn't heard that about him, and then the more we've looked into his background, you're like, oh no, he's just like kind of from a kind of working class family. He's Welsh. His name means thunder in Welsh. Speaks Welsh. He just got kind of cooler and cooler, and he's got a fantastic performance. Big fan.
I think he's brilliant, and he picks his stuff really, really carefully, and he's got very natural comedic timing, I think, as well. And,
the Maxwell family as well. Who was it again that played?
Roger Allam, who played Robert Maxwell brilliantly. So he was in the thick of it. He was Peter Mannion in the thick of it. So he did that really well. We thought he was brilliant in that, and
some brilliant performances as well.
Great British actors, really, because they used a lot of Brits. I wonder where it was shot. Like, obviously they shot most of it over there. But...
I think it looked like a lot of it was shot in the UK. We should check that out. I heard bits of it were shot in the UK anyway. But a massive recommendation for me. What do you want star-wise? What would you go for?
4 out of 5 for me.
Yeah, I'm the same. 4. Yeah, solid. Really good.
Really enjoyed that.
Next up then.
Creed 3 particularly. Creed 3. As we had ascertained a couple of weeks ago when I suggested this, I had not watched Creed 2, which Gerry thought was a problem. So we also watched Creed 2 and then we watched Creed 3, which was...
But let's be even more honest, as we were talking about, I kept calling it Apollo, and you're like, why are you calling it Apollo? I went, Apollo Creed fought Rocky, and you're like, is this a Rocky film? I was like, come on. What, you suggested it? Everyone's going to assume that I suggested reviewing this as well.
Well, I hadn't put 2 and 2 together on it, but like I don't know. I'm not really into having watched it, like my main thing with this film is I don't like watching fighting. Is the thing. I spent most of the film, this is what I do, and I don't like watching things, just staring at you, watching your reaction, because for me, for some reason, when I cover my eyes but just watch your reaction, I feel like I'm still seeing it. I don't know why that is.
Actual boxing. We've watched like actual
but I don't really like watching that either. Like I like the theatre of it all.
There's less heavy punches in real, like these Rocky movies and Creed movies. All it is just devastating, bang bang.
But
guys'
heads.
I know,
the sound design of this film particularly does sound like sledgehammers each time a punch is thrown. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's fun and I get why they do it, but you don't see that when you're watching like Tyson Fury or something, do you? You just see like punches rolling off him.
No, but I think they've created that kind of world in all the Rocky films. I think the first Rocky, it's still quite big noises for the punches landing. But as the Rocky films have gone on, by the time he fights Ivan Drago in 4, it is like someone's taking sledgehammers to concrete.
Well, I think that's
so
why
they've
when
got
I
to move it on. They can't go backwards now.
Yeah.
It's just got to be rockets slamming into buildings for punches now.
You also can listen, just by listening to the film, like, so as I'm watching you, not watching them punching the crap out of each other, I can get the gist of what's going on from the sound design, because it sounds so horrendous.
I guess that what you need in these kind of fights is they need to mean something. Everyone talks about the great lightsaber battle between Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And actually, it's not great choreography, but it matters. There's anger in it, or there's defending, or there's just, it means something. And I think at times this movie doesn't always have that. Like it's generally, I think it's there, and I think obviously it's Michael B. Jordan's directing this as well as starring in it. It doesn't feature Stallone. It's the first of that kind of series.
Is he actually retired? I wonder if
well,
he's retired out of Rocky.
I mean, we watched Apollo 2.
Well, he's retired out of Rocky
Creed
and Creed, sorry,
and there was
the
that
whole
moment,
universe.
There was that moment in Creed 2 where he does hand over the reins, and he doesn't get in the ring to celebrate his, and he's like, "No, it's your time." It's pretty cheesy. It's your time.
Oh, that's the cheesy bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was the bit. Pretty cheesy. There was more, but I thought that was so. There was that moment, so I wasn't that surprised it wasn't in it. But reading the reviews and the story around Creed 3. Apparently,
too dark.
Stallone thought it was too dark, which is quite interesting because I didn't think it was particularly that dark. There was obviously the parts about Creed's upbringing in foster care, care, or whatever, and there was like physical abuse there, but that seems part and parcel of like the kind of Rocky stories that we've heard, is the underdog coming through. I didn't find it particularly.
My favourite bit about it, I would say, is the family stuff. I think they really beautifully do. I don't want to give away too much, so I won't say any spoilers about that, but they have a really beautiful family storyline that kind of develops throughout it, which I think is really important and really, really nicely done as well, actually.
Directorially, there's some really interesting. I mean, it's a real opportunity for him to move the series away from Rocky and be its own thing. Yeah. And there was like some almost surrealist moments in it, like in amongst the fights, to really try and portray what those moments were like. CGI wise, they're doing these huge, massive fights in the big arenas. I wonder how some of that's going to stand up in the future when you look back, because for me, you can tell. I get it. You can't. No one's got the budget for an entire, and they'll probably just 40,000 seater arena.
What do they call it when they touch it up again in 20 years' time? They just re-release it in a special edition with actual spectators.
You should just call it the touch-up edition.
Yeah, the touch-up.
Apollo Creed 3 touched up. Sorry. No, but look, I really enjoyed it. I would still recommend it, and it for Rocky fans, it's part of the story, isn't it? It's part of the narrative.
Been in the news this week as well, hasn't it? Because the co-star Jonathan Majors has got himself into a lot of trouble in the last couple of weeks and is up on domestic abuse charges, quite significant ones as well. So they're also both in the Marvel universe as well, aren't they? So that might cause a couple of complications.
Wow,
for them.
Let's hope for a crossover movie then.
Yeah, well, I think the fans were planning on that, but he's been dropped by all of his management and such like. So I don't think we're going to be seeing him in anything for a while.
Yeah, Creed 4 might be very different. I really enjoyed it. What rating would you go for?
That is a 3 out of 5.
It's a 3 for me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that.
I really enjoyed it though. It's not. I don't mean to take anything away from it. Yeah.
3.5. Yeah. 3.5.
I'm going to stick with 3, but for the most part of the film that I watched, not looking at it. But no, I actually really did enjoy it, and I do think it is a really good film. I much preferred it to number 2. Put it that way. So if you really like number 2, you're going to love this, I think.
Yeah, fair enough. And look, I mean, it's quite extreme. It's quite far-fetched. So for our next movie, our final movie, we thought we'd get something a little bit more grounded, and we went for Cocaine Bear.
So this is to replace Succession, because we decided that spoilers are a bad idea. So we're not going to do that anymore. We'll talk about the whole thing when it's done, but we're not going to give away spoilers. So here we are talking about Cocaine Bear, another real-life story. Oh, this is the second in the week.
Yeah, but I feel like there's even less of the real life story in this than, I mean, I believe that there's maybe been a bear got into some bags of cocaine that were dumped somewhere, but the whole amazing story of it is pretty cool. Have you got the
synopsis of Cocaine Bear. After a 500-pound black bear consumes a significant amount of cocaine and embarks on a drug-fueled rampage, an eccentric gathering of cops, criminals, tourists and teenagers assemble in a Georgian forest as it goes on a murderous rampage.
Yeah, and I think what was amazing about this is you don't watch horror films at all and didn't realise that this is a comedy horror, which is quite a mad genre all of its own. I mean, there's not loads of films in the comedy horror genre, but it is quite a cult film. I mean, like Shaun of the Dead and stuff like that. I mean, they're funny, but they've got some really grisly moments in it, pardon the pun. And this has got more than its fair share of grisly moments and hilarious injuries. It's almost more like Final Destination in terms of like the deaths that happen.
Is that a horror? That's not a comedy though, is it?
No, but the deaths are pretty extreme.
I've not watched that one for obvious reasons, but I never thought it would be a comedy.
Creative deaths in it are everywhere, and it's very. I think it's very funny. There's some brilliant lines in it. There's a bit of hammy acting here and there.
Yeah, but it's kind of in line.
That's part of it, and I think it's on purpose for the performance.
You think as well, it's pretty much based on a sort of 80s style as well in terms of the performances. So, that kind of hammy thing you sort of get away with.
Yeah, it's an 80s movie on purpose, isn't it? The characters are like almost 80s kind of.
Yeah, so.
Wet Hot Summer style characters.
Yeah, and she was in Wet Hot. So the director is Elizabeth Banks. Yeah. She was in Wet Hot Summer, wasn't she?
That's true,
so that kind of follows a very good link. So anyway, so in terms of the realness of it, I decided to have a look and see what was real and what wasn't. What would you guess is real? Oh, actually, we don't give away spoilers, really, do we? But
I think we can do it without spoilers. Okay. I think we can guess what's real. I think a bear got into some cocaine and there was an issue and you had to catch the bear. I think that was probably about all that was real. Yeah,
that's not far off, actually. Yeah. So the main story is that while a black bear sort of found while authorities were searching for the cocaine, which had been dropped, they found the remains of a black bear who had overdosed on cocaine.
Right.
And it's believed that the bear ate a few $1 million worth of cocaine and overdosed very soon afterwards, unsurprisingly. And the autopsy showed, and quote unquote, the stomach packed to the brim with cocaine. So Pablo Escobar, as he became known, was now stuffed and on display in Kentucky Fun Mall. So the real
I'm sure it's what he would have wanted.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. But he died of not being he wasn't I was gonna say unnatural causes, but he wasn't shot or like caught by the police or anything like that.
I think look, it's for me. Really enjoyed it. Ray Liotta is the kind of obviously the last film that Ray Liotta,
the late Ray Liotta.
But it really fun. Some brilliant lines. The young kids have got some fantastic lines that really kind of caught me by surprise. And it's got a tongue firmly in its cheek the whole way through it. The deaths are surprising. The plot is not what you expect as well.
Very good ensemble cast. Yeah. There's no kind of standout star. Like it's a very much an ensemble cast that just are brilliant, and they're all on the same page. It looks like they've had a brilliant time filming.
I can imagine some people just watching going like, this is ridiculous, this is garbage.
Yeah.
Like I can see
it's gonna split the audience. I would say there'll be some people that will be like, this is nonsense. And there'll be some people like us who love the nonsense. And that is
I think for me it's like a throwback to when like young kids in the 80s used to be allowed to go rent out videotapes with your pals, and you're looking at the ones on the shelf, you're like, well, we're gonna get that one, obviously. I mean, it's like it's for a bit of fun, isn't it? And it definitely is like loads of fun and really gratuitous death scenes.
Ridiculous.
And quite jumpy, shocky tropes that you're maybe used to and some that you're not. And great fun. I'm quite happy to rate this. You ready?
Yeah. What are you going for?
I'm going 4.
Yeah, I think in its genre, it's a 4.
Yeah.
It's tricky having just given Creed 3. What did I give it, a 3? Because this feels very unfair to give this a 4 and that a 3. But I think in its genre, Creed is a 3, and whereas this in its genre is a 4.
Well,
if that makes sense. So I think if you like this kind of genre, if you like Shaun of the Dead and that type of film, I think this is a good one for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Great. Right, we wrap it up there. Then what are we looking for next week?
So next week we are watching Road, the Dunlop story. I love racing stories, so I'm very excited about that one. The Boston Strangler, which is Keira Knightley's latest offering about the serial killer, the Boston Strangler. And Ted Lasso. We're going to do a mid-season review of how it's going. No spoilers, but we're just going to let you know whether it's worth dipping your toes into this one. It's season 3 of Ted Lasso that is out at the moment, and it's a 12 episode season, so we're gonna get up to episode 6 of season 3, and yeah, we'll let you know what we think to that point. And
people love Ted Lasso 1 and 2. I think people have really, it's such a nice, fun and enjoyable comedy series. But we weren't necessarily going to review it because it didn't really take to the first little bit of it. I was concerned about the series, but actually, like, as we've gone on, really enjoy it, and actually kind of think it's worth a review. Let's see what happens in the next episode.
So we'll bring you that next week.
Great. So see you then. And if you have liked what you see, please do like and subscribe on YouTube, or you can even help us out on Patreon. Until then, we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Bye for now.
Hello.